Hey, what's up? Long time no see. Not really, it's not even a week. But we are back once again for another weekly gaming news roundup. Really just kind of nerd news. Basically things I'm interested in news. Before we begin, another reminder that if you were interested in having me talk about a certain topic, please get in contact with me in the link in the description and send me these things on Twitter or in my Discord. Either one works. Now, going forth, this week was actually relatively unproductive. There's not a lot of big pieces of news, except there was actually a huge piece of news, and everybody already knows about it, the Nintendo Direct. I already did a reaction to the Direct in full on my channel, so while I'm going to be going and summarizing all the things that happened, if you want my full opinion, just click my channel and just go watch the other video. It'll probably be linked at the end of this video, so there's that. Anyways, let's get ahead with it. I don't need to shave my mustache. It is not doing anything for me. Not doing me any favors whatsoever. Oh well. My dream of a long, silky, post-quarantine beard, like I just crawled out a cave in the ancient times, is dying. It's dying by every single day. It's just sad. Okay, first piece of news. Apparently, there is a Great Ace Attorney collection coming to Switch, PS4, and PC. Now, if you don't know, the Great Ace Attorney is a spin-off of the Ace Attorney franchise, the Phoenix Wright games, right? That stars Phoenix Wright's ancestor, who's also apparently a lawyer, way back in like 1800s Elizabethan era England. And it also has like Sherlock Holmes and whatnot in it. For a long time, these games came out on the 3DS, and for a long time they were not available in the West at all. But recently we've gotten, I think, a soft confirmation. I don't think we ever got any hard news about it being localized, but we know that they've shown certain parts of the localization, so we can assume that it's coming here. But this collection coming to Switch, PS4, and PC, similar to the Phoenix Wright trilogy, is an indication that it's on its way, right? We're gonna get official translations for this game, which is extremely hype because I've wanted to play these games. And I could have because there's fan translations, but I just I've been waiting on it, put a good old Wayne check in that. But now I have a perfect excuse to do that. And if that is the case, if this comes out in the West, I will definitely play it on my Twitch channel, link in the description. But yeah, no, I'm a huge Ace Attorney fan. If you didn't know, I love Ace Attorney. It should be obvious by my my channel icon, which is literally Edgeworth and has been that way since like the anime for Ace Attorney was announced. Like at first I didn't really mess with the series like that, but then like over time, as soon as I watched a playthrough of the first game, I was hooked, and then I bought the trilogy on my 3DS and played the whole thing, and then I bought it again and didn't play the whole thing. I even tried to do a playthrough on this channel a while back. Of course, that got cut off because my computer exploded, but, such is life. Let's go into the article. Oh, yeah, I remember. Okay, we didn't get a confirmation, right, from Capcom, but there was a huge leak from a data breach of Capcom back in, November 2020, where a hacker literally breached there, or somebody on the inside breached inside their actual database and then just robbed all their files. So we know a bunch of stuff that's coming anyways, and one of those things is Ace Attorney and Ace Attorney 2 apparently going to be localized, and yes, they're now in a collection coming to Switch and whatnot, which is great. I very much am excited for this game. We don't know when it's going to happen, but I think this announcement came from Capcom Asia, yeah. I think it was for Taiwan, right? It says right here. Yeah, the Taiwan Digital Gaming Rating Community also apparently rated this game, right? For that. So, it's coming to Taiwan, which probably means that it's eventually going to come here, especially since we already know there's going to be a localization. And there's no reason why they wouldn't, because the Ace Attorney trilogy already did pretty decently, right, when they re-released it. And Ace Attorney is just a weird franchise with Capcom where it's like not super successful, but somehow it just never dies, which I'm down for. Hopefully, also this announcement of a localization for Great Ace Attorney rings well for the Ace Investigations games, because just like Great Ace Attorney, they are a duology of games that were never released in the West. Well, that's not entirely true. The first game, Ace Attorney Investigations 1, did come out in the West. It's a game starring Miles Edgeworth, but it's a good game. It's not, I wouldn't say it's like the top Ace Attorney games, but like the sequel, Investigations 2, is like top tier in terms of like Ace Attorney games. I would say it's probably like tied with Trials and Tribulations, but they're really high up there. I've never played Spirit of Justice, by the way. I still gotta catch up on that. So if you guys think that game is better, which I've heard a lot of good things, and you know, I wouldn't be able to say anything about that. But Ace Investigations 2, from what I played, I actually played the fan translation. That game is ridiculously good. Ridiculously good. Like, possibly some of the best writing in the entire series. The gameplay is great. The characters are awesome. The music is godlike. I really, really hope that if we get a port of like a combo pack port of these two games, eventually we'll get a combo pack port for the investigation games, which are also translated, or at very least a translation for Ace Investigations 2. This rings well. This is progress. This is like if this is it's kind of like when Earthbound Beginnings, or Mother 1 got a port, but that's different because that already had a translation. They just never implemented it because the game was released so late into the NES life cycle. There was like no point in bringing it over. But this is kind of like if like Earthbound never came over and then it suddenly did, and then like Mother 3 was still sitting there without a translation. It's like that, you know? It's like, wow, they actually did something that says something about what might happen in the future. But here's hoping. Anyways, moving. Okay, time to get into the meat and potatoes. The Nintendo Direct. Like I said earlier, I already watched this on stream, and I have a video covering this on my actual YouTube channel already, as well as several reactions to all the stuff that got announced, but might as well go through it here. And while I have this handy dandy image up, I actually also have a list that I stole off of somebody on Discord. Not my Discord, but you know. Which basically covers everything that was said, and I'm going to use that, and if anything is missing, we'll blame them, okay? First thing that was announced right off the top was Mythra and Pyra, the main Blade companions for the protagonists of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, were announced for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as part of the DLC 2 Pack 2, right? And the internet, of course, was very split, because they always split about Smash announcements, especially when it happens to be anime girls. But I personally, as I've already stated before, I'm very okay with the idea. They look cool. They have this like switching mechanic, which is sick. And I think, honestly, a Xenoblade 2 character, or like a character from Xenoblade 2 was pretty much guaranteed to happen, because Sakurai at some point said that he wanted to put Xenoblade characters in, but he missed the game missed the window for getting into Smash Brothers because it released so early into the Switch's life cycle, and they already picked the characters like way back in 2015 at that point, so it never had a chance to actually get into the game, but he wanted to put them in. And the same went for ARMS as well. And like, now that there was an ARMS announcement, and now that the DLC pack was picked in 2019, they had that opportunity to put in a character, so it was pretty much inevitable to happen anyways. And, you know, it makes sense. It's like a first-party Nintendo title. They want to advertise their things. It's a Nintendo character, honestly. Like, it was gonna happen anyways. But, you know, nice to see it there. The next on the list is Samurai Warriors 5, which is nice. It's another Warriors game, probably just because Koei Tecmo has already successfully released one. They're trying to branch over from Hyrule Warriors over to Samurai Warriors, if people want more of that. I don't really have any opinion on the Samurai Warriors series, but yeah, that's that, I guess. It is noteworthy that this is the first instance of Koei supporting the Switch like crazy during this direct, so put a note in that one. We'll get back to it. There's also Legend of Mana HD, which looks really, really good. I've never been interested in the Mana series really at all, but this game looks different. Like, it seems to have like encounters on it. It has like a very Final Fantasy Tactics advanced feel to it in terms of like its pixel graphics, and also like the world map, how you place certain things. I think that's very interesting. I don't know what the date is because my source didn't tell me, but it's coming sooner rather than later. It's something to noteworthy, smaller title. Another thing, Famicom Detective Club 1+2 remaster. Apparently, this is actually they say it's a remaster, but this is a pretty much a full remake of a NES like visual novel, which, by the way, I didn't even know NES visual novels were a thing. I mean, I had like a slight inclination, but I never had any information on it. It was a Japanese exclusive NES Famicom visual novel game that it was like a mystery thing. It's like very early examples of that. So that's actually really cool that this got a full like in-depth remaster with like new graphics and voice acting. It looks really good. Honestly, it kind of caught my interest. I know a lot of people might like overlook it, but that looks really, really good. Apparently it's coming summer, so that's something else in the summer date. We have a lot of summer stuff, so that's cool. Next is more information on Monster Hunter Rise. As I said, I'm not particularly interested in that, but I did have a demo not too long ago that's coming in March 26th, 2021, which is good. I think that game is going to be very successful, even if I'm not personally interested in it. And I think they also announced, they showed off the custom Nintendo Switch bundle that you can get with the game, which is cool. That's alright. Next up was Mario Golf Super Rush. This isn't in the order that they were announced, by the way. It's just stuff that popped up. Finally, another Mario sports game on the Switch. I think the only one that we have is Mario Tennis currently. I think Mario Golf on the 3DS did really well, so I think this game is going to do good. It has like this, it's golf, right? Pretty much just down to the level. Everybody has like these cool new costumes. Like Mario has his cowboy outfit, and like for some reason Bowser's dressed like Guy Fieri. But the main standout from the trailer, the story mode where you can like use a Mii and like gain stats and improve over time, and speed golf, this like golf race game sort of thing. Basically, you're playing golf, right? But it's always your turn. And as soon as you hit your things, you have to run after the ball and hit it again. And the objective is to get your ball in the hole fastest. I just think that is a very fun mode. I've never been interested in golf at all, but like that in and of itself is very, very like fun. It's appealing to me. I think it's just one of those like crazy Mario things that you only really get, like Mario sports things where you only really get it because it's a Mario sports game. It's one of those selling points. I think that if this game has a decent online presence, then that could really take off, because that seems very fun. Albeit it might fizzle out like the tennis game. Who knows? We'll see. Next we got a announcement of Tales from the Borderlands, which is coming, which is basically it's just a Telltale game for the Borderlands series. It's alright. Apparently I've heard that this game isn't that great from a friend of mine, but like, you know, it's a Telltale game. It's interesting if you want to check it out if you're a fan of Borderlands. They did port Borderlands not too long ago, so that's that. There's a Capcom Arcade Stadium, which, you know, apparently it's already out. I did not know that, but it's like a collection of arcade games. Apparently you can like buy some of them to expand your collection and whatnot, something like that. It's like free to play, but then you like expand your collection over time with it. That seems like fun. Like you've never played some of these old arcade classics. Like I'm personally interested in trying Strider, since I never got a chance to play that like ever. So, you know, that's that. There's also this one zombie game, which is apparently actually a port from the Xbox, like the Xbox 360. It's like a really old game, the Stubbs the Zombie thing. I'm not particularly interested in that. But you know, that's something. Also, I didn't mention Mario Golf Super Rush is projected for June. Tales from the Borderlands is projected for March 24th. This zombie game is projected for March 16th, and you can pre-order it now. Don't. But, you know, if you're into it, I guess do. Don't listen. No More Heroes 3 got a new trailer once again, and it's got officially projected for August 27th. So that's something to look forward. We finally got a date on that game. It looks very good. We got information about how the gameplay kind of works. It still has the same game loop of the original No More Heroes games, where you'd have to do little menial tasks in between missions in order to get enough money to register. You'd think Travis at this point would have like a hedge fund somewhere for his assassin stuff, but then again, he was also living out of a trailer for a while, so who knows. We also got a little new update on the actual gameplay, where we learned that he still has the Death Drive glove from Travis Strikes Again, and that has like its own little power-ups, and you can do that. That's pretty much all we saw about it, though. We also got the announcement of Neon White, this sort of, like, this weird FPS card game movement simulator thing. When I first watched this, I didn't really have any reaction to it, but like the actual game, it's like you're running around, you pick up these cards that give you different movement options, and your objective is to kill all the enemies while moving through the stage with the right amount of tools. And it looks really flowful and fun, like really skill based. I didn't really register at first that it looked super cool, but now that I've watched it again, it's really cool. I also think like just the aesthetic is very strong, and this is projected for winter 2021, so we'll expect that. We got DC Superhero Girls Teen Power, which I have zero interest in whatsoever. It looks like just another shovelware. I guess I wouldn't say shovelware. It does look nice, but it's like a cash grab from DC. I will say that I did comment about this during the live reaction. It wasn't kept in the original video, but I will say that it is interesting that girls games nowadays, like really shitty kid games, seem to have a little bit more polish nowadays than they used to. But yeah, I'm just not interested. That's coming June 4th. I don't think anybody cares. It'll be good for kids, but whatever. Plant vs. Zombies Neighborhood is apparently coming out on March 19th. Okay. Miitopia, the 3DS me-focused game, is apparently coming to Switch, and has added some new additions like wigs and like color and makeup and stuff like that, so you can design your Miis to a higher degree of level. That game was always like all me games are drug games. Like, they're so weird, but that's their appeal. That they're just so strange and like quirky. That's their thing. But Miitopia, from what I remember, it's another one of those games where people really enjoyed it a lot. I'm not sure how much it costs to get, but apparently it's projected for the 21st. I'm probably not gonna get it or anything, but like, that's a fun game. If you've never played a me game, it'd probably be a good time to jump in. I think it was pretty well regarded. But yeah, that's all I have to say on that. It's a port. It's a nice port, but it's a port. Animal Crossing New Horizons got an update that shows new Super Mario items, which is cool. It's mainly your normal stuff like a thwomp, coins, mushrooms, blocks. A really interesting one is the pipe, which actually has a function, because you can use the warp pipe and place it on two different parts of the island and then warp between those 2 points. That's super useful, because like it helps get you back to, like, if you want to go to your like store or something instantaneously, you can just jump between that and just go right back. I feel like that should have been a thing from the get-go, but whatever. Okay. And that's apparently going to happen the 25th of this month, so this week. Next up, the big one. Triangle Strategy. A new tactical RPG made by the same people who made Octopath Traveler. That game looks gorgeous. It seems to have a very in-depth gameplay system reminiscent of Final Fantasy Tactics, like one of my favorite sub-series ever. In fact, it's literally the reason I'm named Marche, after the main protagonist of Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. That game is so good. Both Tactics and Tactics Advance 1. I've never played A2, but I've heard like mixed things about it. But it's so good to get another tactical RPG from Square Enix, because like this team, the Octopath team, really is like the Octopath Bravely Default team, because they're the same people. Really are like the Square Enix that Square Enix refuses to be, and I love it, because we're getting like classic JRPGs with like job systems and whatnot that are very reminiscent of Final Fantasy, which is sick. It's actually the same team that made Final Fantasy 4 Heroes Light on the DS, by the way. A little fun fact, which is why they have such a tie to Final Fantasy in general. And now a Final Fantasy Tactics game that, like, it literally has all the mechanics of Final Fantasy Tactics. Just like, the only thing it's missing are like charge times, but it makes up for that by having the boost system. Well, not like the boost system, but like you get turn points every time you wait. And that's sort of like a charge system. So you can move around and you have a charge, but like you sometimes have to do nothing just so you can build up enough charge to use like a magical spell. But it has like heights and all that stuff. I played the demo. Actually, there's actually a demo for this game out right now, and they're gonna release a survey so you can like give in your information. They did that with Octopath Traveler. They did that with Bravely Default. I love that practice. It's great. I've tried the demo. I've only gotten as far as like the first chapter, but it's really promising so far. The story seems really gritty, not like gritty, but like really grounded and like serious, and I like that. Like you have You have people getting murked, blood pools forming around the place. It's like interplay between different kingdoms. It's already got my attention, and I think it also the fact that it seemingly has a bigger focus on story when compared to Octopath is a good sign, because Octopath's biggest criticism from people was that the story was it just sort of happened and then ended, you know? Like, it wasn't like it all came together in one big, massive story. Like, everybody's stories were sort of separate, and there wasn't a lot of interaction. That was a bit of a talking point. Another feature in this game that they've advertised is that you'll have a choice when talking to people that determines how the scales balance in a vote. And like, your point is that you want to convince people to do certain things by making certain decisions and telling them certain things. And that will affect how the story goes forward, which is very, very interesting. I think that's a appealing trait to this game, because it means that everybody's going to have a different experience, and it increases the replayability. It also tells me that the complexity of this story is going to be really deep, because it kind of reminds me of two games that I'm a big fan of. Catherine on the PlayStation 3 and now on modern consoles. It was made by Atlas. It's sort of like a test game for Atlas when they're trying out like the new engine for like Persona 5 before they switched engines, honestly. But that game's big focus is on like morality, right? You can either choose a path of freedom or a path of like loyalty, right? Where you pick between different goals depending on which decisions you make during certain segments, right? And and they even added a third route into that game eventually. But that sort of like morality choice thing was very reminiscent of SMT and of course Catherine, and I think that's very interesting, and also reminiscent the different paths reminiscent of course of Fire Emblem Three Houses, which many people have made a comparison. You uncultured swine, how dare you? Final Fantasy Tactics is right there. Come on, man, y'all need to branch out. I need a remake or a re-release of Tactics this instant. Cannot accept this. But yeah. The branching paths it's very interesting, because it means that your decisions actually have value, which I don't think a lot of JRPGs go through with. It could potentially make it so that, like, since you have so many different perspectives on the story, you could potentially get a greater grasp on what's going on at any given time, and I'm excited. That is very much a game that got my attention. I damn near orgasmed when I saw it. This is definitely my highlight game of the entire direct. The next one that was announced right after that was Star Wars Hunter, and by announced I mean teased. We don't really know what it's about. It's a Star Wars game by EA. It seems to be like an arena fighter about bounty hunters or something. Sure, whatever. It's set during the Mandalorian period, like after episode 6 and before episode 7, so you know how it is. We got that announcement from Knockout City, which I think is also an EA announcement. It was like that volleyball thing, and I've heard some people shit on this game, but I honestly think it's kind of interesting, just because it's like, I don't think there's another game that's done that concept before, so it's kind of interesting. I think it's got potential. I do think it's a little disingenuous how they showed all those different like art style characters from like different games, and then in the game just has one unified art style and everybody looks the same. It's just like, why didn't you just show the characters from the actual game? Well, the answer is because they're generic and boring. But you know, no judging. Apparently that's projected. Both Star Wars Hunters and Knockout City are projected for sometime in 2021 and May 2021. Also, I didn't mention this, but Triangle Strategy is coming 2022. Oh, this is another one. Hades is apparently getting a physical release on Switch specifically. I think they might be announced. I think it's a Switch exclusive, the physical version. But it's coming with like an art book and a digital download for the soundtrack. That's very, very nice. I'm not sure if I would get that, but I know a couple friends who are very excited about that whole thing. Alright, remember that pin I put earlier about Koei Tecmo supporting the Switch? Well, now we got a double whammy. Okay, first off, Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, which immediately raised alarms in my head. If you don't know, by now, I'm pretty much convinced that at some point, one of the last two characters is going to be Ryu Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden. For several reasons. The main one being that Nintendo and Koei Tecmo have had a very close relationship recently and for a while now, honestly. So I feel like Nintendo would be very much inclined to getting a Koei Tecmo character in, and Ryu Hayabusa is super iconic, so it makes sense that he would be put in. this only confirms my suspicions, though I should preface that this is releasing on all consoles. It's not just the Switch, albeit as is all the more reason why they would put him in the game, right? It still contributes to it. There's also Hyrule Warriors and the Samurai Warriors game I mentioned before, and like everything they worked on before, like 3 houses and whatnot. I think it's pretty much inevitable that's gonna happen at some point, right? But that's my assessment. So this collection coming is a big deal to me, but it's also just a big deal in general because these games are very good, very well high polished, extremely hard, by the way. Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2 are just like notoriously difficult. It's one of those games where, like, when I say it's extremely hard, I mean it's like harder than Dark Souls hard. That's what I'm talking about. Like, it's not a game to shake a stick at. This is not something I'm not saying that you can just be like, hey yo, it's whatever, bro. Yeah, this game, I can deal with it. It's whatever. No, this game will kick your ass. This is not a kid's game, bro. It's one of those games where it's like, it just feels impossible unless you're like super duper good. And that's like on normal difficulty. Don't even get me started on the higher ones. The only Ninja Gaiden game that, of the new games that I personally played was Dragon Sword on DS, which was a great game and was also not as hard. It was still difficult, but it was well balanced, I think. And I think that's like its greatest strength. The Hades physical edition is March 19th. Ninja Gaiden Master Collection is coming on the 10th of June. While I have your attention, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. If you haven't already, and share this video around, of course. I appreciate it very much, helps the channel grow, and it's just very helpful for your boys. But anyways, next thing we also got was an announcement of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity DLC stuff. Basically an expansion pack. We just got information for them. I don't think we got dates. Actually, let me check. Okay, so the dates for Age of Calamity are apparently June again, jeez, and November, which is nice. And we're getting an expanded roster, more weapons, apparently new challenges, character vignettes, whatever that means, new stages, another expanded roster, new battle skills for existing characters, and apparently new challenging enemies, which is probably going to be the golden tier of enemies, which we didn't have in this game, but were in the master mode version of Breath of the Wild. That's what I'm expecting. In terms of new characters, the biggest implication is Wabi and Pyra here. They're right here in the image, and they were in the original game, but not playable. But they had like models and whatnot. Like you literally see them in the game. So it's pretty likely that it's gonna be them. Not to mention, we actually did get a leak for DLC. I don't remember what it was. It might have been like game files or something like that. But we did get leaks for DLC that included Wabi, Pyra, Aster, and Suga, which is expected. I thought all those characters would have been in the base game, but them coming as DLC does not surprise me in any way. I'm very interested in what these character vignettes are. They're probably just like little cutscenes, but that's a lot more characterization for heroes, and I appreciate that. It's not like new story stuff, but it's still like definitely more stuff to do, which is interesting. Expect more of this, by the way. It's like expansion pass. They're gonna make another one, guaranteed. On my mom. they you know how many expansion passes they had for original Hyrule Warriors? Like this Koei Tecmo just be doing DLC, albeit it's very tasteful in this case, but still. This also has to do with a greater topic I'm going to talk about a little bit later, but back on my beat. Bravely Default 2 got projected for February 26th. We already know it's coming now. The demo got updated again, apparently. And yeah, you can order that now. It's coming right after the Animal Crossing update. No real opinions about that. Bravely Default 2 looks good, but quite frankly, the triangle strategy game took all my attention away from from this game. That and I still haven't finished the first game, which I'm working on. I actually picked it up recently. I pretty much finished off everything I didn't do. I just have to go into like the final boss and then fight it, and then that's that. I will probably... it's not in the cards to buy this game now, but I'll definitely check it out. Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, the Saga Frontier remaster was also announced. These are all smaller games for February 25th, April 15th. That's cool. Apex Legends apparently is coming March. That's cool. We got a very tragic announcement that Breath of the Wild 2 would not get any information in that particular direct. That said, That said, Aonuma did say two very important things. One, that we would for sure get more information this year, which is good. He made a promise that we're getting more information this year. That means we're getting a trailer sometime this year. If we went a whole other year without that, then it would actually look terrible for the game. But the fact that we are getting more news this year is good. That, and he said, he reassured again that the game is developing smoothly, they just need more time. So yeah, if anybody's doom and gloom about Breath of the Wild 2, it doesn't mean the game is in development hell, which just means that we're going to get stuff later. Like, he specifically said that we're going to get it later this year, or information about it later this year. So don't give up hope, it will happen eventually. Just like, not for a while. I would guess probably in summer is when they're going to start doing stuff for that. I would say during the digital E3 if they attend that, or maybe some other time, who knows. They can do directs whenever. If I were to guess, it's probably because the pandemic has really slowed down development on that game particularly, which is unfortunate, but, you know, c'est la vie. But after that, right after that, to assuade us, he announced Skyward Sword HD, which, by the way, Skyward Sword, great game, excellent, definitely recommend, especially, again, if you've never played any other Zelda game in the series and you want to get into the series and its story and its lore, this game is extremely important for that. It also has, like, a new gameplay system where it's, like, where you can use button controls instead of, like, the motion controls, so that will definitely appeal to a lot of people who didn't like the thing before. While I'm on the topic, actually, Skyward Sword HD and Breath of the Wild 2, and a bunch of other things, are all pretty relevant to the current state of affairs, because today, the day I'm recording this, which is a little bit late, I actually decided to record this a little bit later than usual, is the beginning of the Zelda 35th anniversary. So, that is a talking point currently. And, this game is obviously made for the anniversary stuff. It's actually coming out a week before it came out originally, because this was already an anniversary title to begin with, so it works out well as an HD version. Some people have been complaining about the price. If you're still complaining about the prices with Nintendo nowadays, like, bro, that's a normal practice. Just get the game, you're gonna like it, whatever, man. It's a good game. It's worth that amount, I think. I don't think the HD graphic update is that big, but you know, it's a Wii game, it doesn't really need that much of an upgrade. It's made better things. But yeah, on the topic of that and the anniversary, of course we didn't get any announcements so far as today is gone. This could change, by the way, and if it has changed, I'll probably already have made a video and posted it before this video comes out, so you keep your eyes on that. But so far, Nintendo of America has not said anything about it, which is a little suspicious. Usually they say something, right? They have not said jack or Jill about the anniversary currently, which is, again, strange. You'd think they would, considering it's like one of the biggest franchises, but nope, nowhere to be seen. Now, whether or not that continues, we'll see. I should remind people that even if they don't say anything about the anniversary now, doesn't mean they're not going to celebrate it at all. It's still going to last the rest of the year. Like, the anniversary is from this 21st to the next one. This is just the beginning, so we could get a lot of announcements going forward. So, you know, don't hold your breath. It will happen. Just calm yourself. It'll be fine. Now, on this topic, though, there's apparently a rumor recently from a member of the I guess the gaming industry, right? Apparently from VGC journalist and ukulele producer Andy Robinson, who apparently states that Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are 100% coming this year, and he also shits on at least one of these games. I know he doesn't like Skyward Sword, so he shat on Skyward Sword and possibly either Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, but we're not going to talk about that. Your hot takes are fine, because in my opinion, there's only 2 good games on that list. But, I'll just leave you guys with that one. But, yeah, apparently he says that the remasters are coming for sure. How much validity that actually has, who knows. But, it's been expected that those things are going to happen anyways. It doesn't really make sense they wouldn't port them. Like, why not? That's free money. You can port them for $60 again and people would buy them. Hopefully it's a pack, right? But who knows? Nintendo be smoking that pack, so you never know. Considering we haven't gotten any information about that yet, it's pretty likely that we're going to get some stuff. People have, of course, been talking about a 35th anniversary direct. Again, we haven't had any announcements about that. We haven't had anything pop up. I think with Super Mario, and I've actually been meaning to confirm this for a while, but I think with Mario, his came a little bit after his 35th anniversary. When is the first Super Mario game? And then when was that direct? Because if they don't line up, then that's good for us. Okay, September 13th. I think actually that was around the same time. Okay, that was September 3rd. That was actually before the anniversary started. So it doesn't line up exactly. But it is interesting that they did that beforehand. In fact, actually, the anniversary isn't even lasting as long as that actually is. It ends in March. So it's possible that they can actually start the anniversary a little bit later and then just do it for a certain amount. It just depends. I think what they might do, logically speaking, is they might save the anniversary celebration for when, like, Skyward Sword comes out and, like, maybe Breath of the Wild later this year. Or something like that. Like, later in the year might make a lot more sense to have an anniversary, just simply because that's when the games are going to be coming out. You gotta remember that that's also the case with the Mario stuff. That most of the Mario celebrations, like the 3D All-Stars and all that stuff, they released, I think, that September, right? That, like a week after they announced it. So maybe they're just waiting for when their release date for whatever they announce is right around the corner, and then they're going to do an announcement. Which could potentially be months from now, honestly. But that's something. That's definitely something of note to keep in mind about whether or not we're going to get Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Expect it. Don't worry about it if it doesn't happen today. Or whenever this happens. If it hasn't happened by now, just chill out. It'll probably happen eventually. At very least, we're getting information on Breath of the Wild 2. I think that, in fact, they might even do the 35th anniversary thing when they're going to announce that information. Who knows? I think that makes the most sense. Just wait until you have all your stuff already lined up for the anniversary, and then announce it so that people can enjoy it immediately, instead of being like, the anniversary is now, but we're not getting any games or anything to celebrate it for several months. Doesn't make sense, right? But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. And now the final game they announced was Splatoon 3, which seems to have been based, like, aesthetically on chaos. It was a final Splatfest they had in Splatoon 2, and the last theme was Order vs. Chaos. And if you didn't know, the final Splatfest, historically, back during Splatoon 1, is what determined the story of Splatoon 2. Like, the base game story. The last Splatfest for that game was Callie versus Marie. Which one did you prefer? And Marie, I believe, won out. And then Callie, in the actual story of Splatoon 2, went missing. And then Marie was the one who was helping you the whole time. So, like, that affected the story there. And then this one was, the Splatoon 2 one was Order vs. Chaos. And now it looks like a post-apocalyptic, like, wasteland. Or at least where the trailer starts. I'm going to assume the story's going to have something to do with that. So, yeah, interesting stuff. They showed off the new hub world, which is no longer Inkopolis. It's got like a far more urban feel, like a really dense urban jungle sort of feel to it. I like it. It's very authentic. We'll see how easy it is to navigate and whatnot, but it's interesting as it is. I already see Splatoon 3 being much more different. I wonder how the main game is going to play compared to Splatoon. Like, I think the turf wars and stuff like that are going to be more or less the same, right? Going to be similar stuff, because, you know, that's the main gameplay. But how is, like, the main actual game going to be? Because we've already had, like, several, like, linear platforming style. Like, Splatoon 2, I think, in a lot of ways was very similar to Splatoon 1, mostly because a lot of people didn't play Splatoon 1 because it was on, you know, Wii U. So a lot of new people got into the series there. They felt like they just need to make it like an updated version. But Splatoon 3 does not have that luxury, because it's like, it's following up a game that is already on the console. Like, if it's too similar to the original, obviously people are just going to be like, why not just play Splatoon 2 then? Why do I need to buy this new game? I already own one game, right? Yeah, but if this game is different enough, I think that it could definitely appeal to enough people. But we'll see. It's good for Splatoon fans, though. That means we're going to get Splatfest and all that. I've never really been a fan of this game, this series. Mainly, I'm not like a non-fan. I follow it. I played the first game on Wii U, but my internet was too trash to ever get a good time. So I just, like, I paid a lot of money for it, and then it's like I barely played it. And so I've sort of been avoiding the franchise so far. But yeah, I still respect it. I appreciate it. That's a good thing. But that's pretty much everything that happened in the Direct. I think I spent too much time talking about it, but hey, whatever. Moving forward. It's still less time than last time, so that's an improvement in my opinion. We don't actually have that much left to talk about. Next point of contention, or next topic, it's not a point of contention, is the reveal of 2 different characters for KOF 15. Now, it's a good thing I actually delayed this video, because this next character, and also another talking point that popped up later, both got information revealed today, like yesterday night, and officially today. We got an announcement 1 for Kyo Kusanagi, which was earlier in the week. That sort of deconfirmed the Joe theory that was going on. Like last time when we talked about the last announcement, it was Joe Higashi, which was right off the heels of Yori Yagami, which, you know, for a lot of people it was like, what the f***? Those 2 together? They're not. From this trailer, we were thinking like the next one announced after that, all 3 of them would be on the team. It was not the case. Kyo was announced. He had his trailer, which we're gonna watch here. But he had his trailer, and at the end, he didn't get any announcement about a team or anything, so they're not on the team. And then later on, we got an announcement who the actual team that Iori is on is. It's a fan favorite, of course, but we'll do this first. Kyo Kusanagi. I love Kyo's look in this game. It's like a combination of everything from the past. Oh, Max was going crazy over this. Of course, I've seen this before, but I didn't really look at it too much. It looks really nice in HD. Like, ooh, this game is very nice. Oh my god, the like little cuffs with the eclipse in it. That's sick. Kyo's always been an interesting character because he's had so many. Like, he's the main character, right? Or like the prototypical character, but he has so many variety, like so many variants over the years. He doesn't seem to have like any projectiles in this particular game, which is interesting. He also has a really cool super. I've never actually really played Kyo. I've always been sort of intimidated by him, you know? Seems he plays in a strange way, but the projectile into the super, and he comes in with that punch. And then like to reflect. This shit's sick with the makes the symbol just like Iori does. That's sick. But yeah, we didn't get an announcement for a team. But we did get an announcement later on for the 3rd character here. Kyo, of course, being the poster child of the series. He was the first protagonist of KOF. And still is, you know, a mainstay no matter what. In fact, he's been involved plot-wise in quite a few of the main stories. So, yeah, it's good to see him again. We already saw him earlier, but it's good to see him in action, you know? Looks cool. But, more importantly, after Kyo Kusanagi was announced, and like, yesterday, we also got an announcement for Chizuru Kagura, which is very significant. Because, 1, this character has not appeared in an official KOF, like, game since 2003. Before some of y'all were even born, man. This character been out the fray for a minute. And 2, this character is the 3rd member of the three sacred treasures team, which is in a canon, a story specific team that only happened one time in the actual KOF series. This was at the end of the Orochi saga, where Chizuru, along with Iori and Kyo, teamed up to defeat the ancient evil known as Orochi, because they're all from different clans that were meant to fight Orochi back in the day, and that's what they did. They sealed them away, right? And now they came back and they had to fight him again, all as one team, and that was pretty sick. It was the first time Iori and Kyo teamed up ever. Chizuru in herself is a very interesting and underrated character, I feel. In recent games, like story-wise, she hasn't appeared since 2003 as a playable character, or like, you know, but she has actually been involved in the plot for quite a while. She's been out of commission for several reasons, like in the Ash Crimson saga, she lost her powers and whatnot. Now she has them back. Good to see her in full form. In KOF 14, she actually, because of some stuff involving the plot of that stuff, Orochi got brought back, but he was like in a weakened state, and she showed up to finish him off along with Iori and Hyo in like the post game like epilogue. So it's good to see that after that event happened, the old gang decided to get back together, which is sick. Yeah. I know I'm getting ahead of myself by saying they're on the same team, but yeah, they are. Which also means that Joe announcement really was the most random thing in the world. Like, they really just announced them out of nowhere. Why? Just to throw us off? Like, what? Whatever. This is cool. She's a very underrated character. She doesn't get enough respect, I think. Even though, like, she has a lot of fan following. A lot of people are very happy that she's in the game now. Oh, the siege. Let's go! This is the GOAT team, bro. She also looks great. Like, I think especially when it comes to, like, recent trailers, I'm really starting to see, like, how smooth the game's graphics are. It looks excellent. This is also her first appearance in 3D. She also has, like, this... People who don't know, she kind of has this interesting gimmick where she can, like, spawn a clone that rushes forward. Because her, like, sacred treasure is the mirror. Bop, 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 bop. She's a very interesting and technical character because she can switch places with a clone too. Got the prayer breeds coming around. You don't get to see the end of that, but that's pretty sick. It's great to see that they're all together. Shatter all expectations. We actually didn't get another announcement for more stuff next week. I wonder if we're gonna get like a big thing. Though to be fair, this wasn't actually the weekly announcement. I should mention there was actually a developer roundtable for fighting game developers, and that's where this got announced. So or officially revealed. So that's why I think they didn't say more information next week. You know, but that's pretty major. This is pretty big. And the prophecy has been finally fulfilled. Everybody was been asking for them to be together again, and now they finally are. It's such a cool thing. It's great to finally see that happening because it's been a long time coming. Also, something about Chizuru before I leave, before I move on from this topic, is that she kind of looks like she has a bit of a serious personality, but she's actually like pretty free spirited outside of like her duty. It's just that she's been made to be a lot more, you know, formal because she has such a burden on her shoulders. I definitely recommend if you have never gotten into KOF lore that you look into it. There's a channel that I follow that I'm a big fan of. It's called Shoryu Game, right? And he covers all the lore for like KOF and SNK stuff for like a long time. So definitely recommend checking this out if you want to learn about any characters, like story or lore. This is the best way to do it. You can even get like full breakdowns of the whole saga. Very, very excellent channel. It's great. I very much highly recommend it. It's fun and enjoyable. He has a good sense of humor. Yeah. And that in the series, I think in general, just has very interesting lore when compared to a lot of other fighting games. So it's worth giving it a look. Spoiler warning for Avatar: The Last Airbender. Okay, next one, we got some BS. All right, we gotta talk about this. Hold the phone. All right, if you didn't know, Netflix partnered with Nickelodeon to make a live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender series, which is already sounds like a disaster considering what happened to the last Avatar: The Last Airbender adaptation. But apparently. Apparently we're getting some information about how the series, and it's quite worrying. Okay, so apparently they've actually changed the canonical ages of some of the characters, specifically Katara and Sokka, who are brother and sister. They have made Katara, who was originally the younger sister, into the older sibling in this situation at 16 years old, and Sokka into 14. Now, this might not seem like a big thing if you've never seen the series, but trust me when I say this completely changes their entire dynamic. Like, Sokka's main thing is how protective he is of his sister, and like him coming into his adulthood, like in his manhood as a responsible individual, and like going past sort of childish things and stuff like that. Like, that's a big part of his story, right? And like relationships he might have and all kinds of things. And now that he's the younger sibling, that whole dynamic is thrown way off. Because one, he's like, if they start talking about, oh, you're a man now at 14, that's gonna sound weird. And two, him being the younger sibling also means that his relationship and like connection to Katara is just very different. Like, he can still be protective of her, I get that, but it's not gonna be the same sort of dynamic where it's like, in some ways, Katara, it's not as interested in the way where like Sokka was the most responsible one. He was the one who was entrusted with taking care of his village and all that. And Katara was like responsible in other ways. You know, she supported him, kept him going in a lot of ways. He sort of saw her as like a substitute mother figure since they lost their mom, right? Like that dynamic's gonna be so completely different. On top of that, Katara also doesn't have the... I don't feel like she has the same liberty to be as vulnerable in this situation because she's now the responsible one of the two of them. And on top of that, even moving past that, this has quite a bit of alarming implications for the romance stuff that she had. If you didn't know, originally Katara and Aang had a romantic thing going on. That eventually became canon in the actual show. Like, they hooked up and that became canon, and yeah. But Katara now being 16 makes the age gap between her and still 12-year-old Aang a massive 4 years. This, you know damn well they're not still gonna get together now. If they do, that'll be wrong, right? But it'll be really weird. But because they're most likely no longer gonna have that romantic connection, that means they're probably going to have a hookup with somebody else. Mainly, people are saying Zuko, which I think is still kind of problematic in of itself. I'm not a huge fan of that ship. But, yeah, they're going to probably push it in that direction, which is concerning. But on top of that, you also... have, like, the problem of Finn. I feel like Katara loses some of her vulnerability. I feel like, in this case, also, like, they're probably going to take this as an excuse to, like, sexualize her or like put her or like cast her as an older person, which is gonna be weird. I'm not down for this. I think that this changes too much of the dynamic and doesn't really read well going forward. And a lot of people have shared that sentiment. It's weird. I feel like they're messing with too many things, and it's going to make it difficult for them to adapt things further. Like, they're gonna have to make more changes to account for this, especially when you consider that if Katara and Aang do not get together, they're basically not going to be able to adapt Korra, Legend of Korra, the sequel series, like, at all. Or if they do, they're gonna have to change things significantly. Because if you didn't know, their kids in that's Legend of Korra stars like the next Avatar in line, which is like a good 80 something years in the future, and their kids are like major characters. They're specifically Tenzin, their airbender kid, is like a huge character in the series. And like, fundamentally, if those kids aren't around, Korra just doesn't happen, right? It's just gonna be totally different. I just feel like these decisions in the long run are gonna make things harder for them, because they're gonna constantly be making up for changes while trying to still adapt a script that was designed around very specific choices. Like, these character ages are not incidental. They're designed for a reason. It's like they're designed for a reason so that the dynamics work. Everything is in its place for a reason. The second you start mixing certain things, suddenly it's like a domino effect, right? Like, you shift one thing and now everything else changes, and now you have to readjust it to work, right? It's not... You can't just take one puzzle piece out and swap it for another one. It's not how that works, right? You're gonna have a hard time trying to make it all fit together. And I think that's more trouble than it was worth. They really didn't need to do that, but yeah. One overarching thing that I've remiss to mention so far, but it is important, is that at the beginning of this adaptation, they were working alongside with the actual creators of Avatar, Last Airbender, and The Legend of Korra. But they had at some point last year, they had a falling out. So this series is no longer being produced in part with the actual original creators, and also is completely under the control of a group of people who are doing things that the creators didn't agree with. So, if you had any hope towards this series, just keep that in mind, okay? We already at this point know that this is going to be rough, potentially. It could potentially be terrible. I don't think as bad as M. Night Shyamalan's adaptation, but it's gonna have It's gonna be a Netflix adaptation, you know. It's gonna be like Winx Club. It's just like they just did some random shit. Will it be bad necessarily? Who knows? It's just gonna be it's gonna be something else. I mean, will I check it out? Probably not. Honestly, I really don't want to. But hey, I'll keep my eyes on it. You know, I'll keep the news up here. But moving on, I don't want to talk about this anymore. It depresses me. All right, final thing for today is a Guilty Gear Strive trailer for the final character that they revealed. I wanted to end on a good note, so I decided to save this one for last. This is also like the most recent thing I think that came out. If any other information happens today and it doesn't come up, and I didn't mention it now, or like whenever it releases, and I didn't mention it now, it will be in the next video, so no worries about that. Also, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Also, don't forget. Yeah, but the newest character got announced. This has a full trailer. We're gonna watch this here. It's 1 minute and 52 seconds, which is actually, I think, longer than the other Guilty Gear announcements. I already know who it is, by the way. I must preface. I saw like the thumbnail. I know who it is, but well, we'll see. I'll just watch it here. Cause I know who it is, but I did not watch the trailer. I like saw like a second, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna react. I specifically waited on this one. Mankind know they could not change, and so they blame the beasts. The final character in the base roster, and it's an old character. We got the Goyle, Eno, and a sick redesign by the way. This redesign is dope. The Guitar Witch. Ooh, okay, that's nice. This game is still gorgeous, by the way. Boom, ba bam, bop. Okay, the air dash. Let's go. Character's a very projectile-heavy character, if I remember. Did he just flip her the middle finger? That's hilarious. Oh, she blocked it. That's not a command grab. Good to know. Boop. Hold up, that lagged the fuck out for some reason. I think she might have a lot to do with the plot too, because this is definitely a scene that's happening in the actual story, because Kai just came in. He can lightning install into the gameplay? Wait, what's going on? Okay, I guess they switched out, yeah? Oh, the super? Let's rock. Alright. And like I already said, this game is coming later on today. These are all the, not today, but later on in the year. I think that's April 4th? Or April 9th? That's pretty cool. Eno. Alright. If you didn't know, this is a older Guilty Gear character. Apparently she was like a villain in one of the previous games. Her whole thing is that she's a witch, but also like a electric guitar player. She looks sick in this game. She's actually a bit of a, like an old stay. I think her new costume especially looks really good. Like, it's a lot more black and like deeper red, and I like that. It has like subwoofers or like on her actual lapel. She's wearing less now, but I think it looks cool. I love the sunglasses. I think those look sick as hell. Honestly, this is great. Like, I think this is a great announcement. I think this is a great redesign. It's very interesting to have her in the game. She was a villain in previous games, and she just kept appearing. I think she might have something to do with the plot in this game, most likely, but it's good to have her. She's a classic character. And this game's art style and just redesigns have been on point in general. But yeah, with this, the roster is officially completed. We have everybody. It's good to, finally see everybody. This game's right around the corner. I am probably going to get it, honestly. This thing is very interesting. Honestly, also, just her being like a musical-based fighter is super interesting. Like, you don't have a lot of characters who just attack with electric guitars and shit, but yeah, that's her thing. But yeah, it's good to have her on the roster. It's good to like get a reveal of the whole roster now. It seems pretty solid so far. Obviously, we're probably gonna get DLC, but it's nice to have it. The other Guilty Game Gear, really? The other Guilty Gear games have gotten my attention visually, but I've never been interested in playing them because I always thought they were a little intimidating mechanics-wise. But I think, especially in the case of this game, where it's a little bit more grounded, footsies-based, and with like a smaller roster, it's the best time to get into the series, if you ask me. Okay, yeah, that's it. That's that. we are done all of our topics. That's everything I have for today. I have to go back to playing Animal Crossing New Leaf on my Nintendo 3DS. No, but yeah, that's all I have in terms of topics right now. There'll definitely be more things announced later this week. I'm sorry for everything being so late. I don't know why I keep running into this situation where I find myself behind schedule. I think it's just because I had a lot of stuff going on Friday, so I couldn't record then, and I ended up going overboard when playing Persona 5 Strikers. So again, I didn't get the chance to record then either. So it's a good thing I'm getting it done now. It might take a while for this to drop, but it's whatever. It's not a problem for you guys. You guys are already watching it. I appreciate all the support, by the way. They've been getting these videos. Have been getting decent views no matter what when I release them, which is very impressive. I've gotten a lot of support from people talking to me on like Discord and whatnot. So that's also appreciative. You know who you are. I love y'all. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, favorite, subscribe, and reach out to me with any more information on my links in the description. That's pretty much all I got. Thank you for watching. Ciao.
ダメだねダメよダメなのよあんたが好きで好きすぎてどれだけ強いお酒でも揺がわない思い出がバカみたい